And it's another episode of FPL Expectations. This is the episode where we dissect the Community Shield last night between Liverpool and Arsenal. Who passed the eyeball test? With me, I've brought the experts that know best. With me, I have Joe, FPL, and we have all about FPL, Surya in the house. How you doing, guys?
I'm doing great.
How's it going?
Good to have you on the show. We're going to go straight into it. And both managers sprung a few surprises in their team selections, as well as their bench options. We're going to go straight from the start and going to start with Arsenal and their goalkeeping situation. Now, everyone in the show yesterday, which I had Baby Wales on, he, being an Arsenal fan, predicted that Bernd Leno was going to start ahead of Martinez. However, it didn't prove to be right. Martinez got the nod. Is he going to be the new number one going into the season?
I think based on yesterday's performance, yes, for me.
Yeah, but Arteta was again very specific about the fact that Martinez was rewarded for his exploits during the FA Cup game, and he is close to a new contract as well. So it's pretty much an open case about wait and watch on whether it will be Leno or Martinez. But if it's Martinez, it's a great option for us at 4.5. He could be another really good keeper, but we'll have to wait out and see what Arteta is planning to do. So there were rumors that Aston Villa are moving for Martinez, but then there is talks about a new contract as well. So it's wait and watch for me, I guess.
Yeah, I think Martinez has been linked to a few clubs, not only in England. I think Leeds were another club that were linked with him, but also abroad. But I mean, after the match, he came out, stated his love for the club, said he wanted to stay. But surely he's at that stage of his career. He's not young anymore, 28 years old. After his performances post-lockdown, he surely deserves a start. Did he do enough, though, for you last night?
For me, based on what I saw in the match, I think he did more than enough because he had a few big saves, particularly against Mane. And I would reckon Arteta will probably start him at the start of the season, and then probably only slowly ease Leno back into the games. So, but he did really from what I can see, he did well last night.
I mean, the big question is going to be: is he worth the 4.5 gamble?
I would say he's worth if you're rotating keepers, but if he is your only playing keeper, then probably no, because he will probably be another transfer down the line. I that's how I would see it.
Yeah, so I'll slide in with Zoo as well because I am this year I'm working on a strategy wherein I'm not going to spend transfers on defense and keepers. So probably a no for me as well again over there, because there's still concerns that he'll not start the season up front, and I'm not looking to swap my keeper going in at game week 2 or game week 3. So for me, it's a firm wait and watch for Arsenal with Arsenal's defense and Martinez in particular. Yeah, Craig.
Yep.
Yeah, just touching on that defence, Surya. We obviously know Arsenal, famous for their leaky defence over the last few years and not having that strong. We didn't see that last night, though. We saw more organised setup from Arteta. Is that a way in? Is that a cheap option to get some Arsenal assets in? We've seen Cedric Suarez at 5 million, Hector Bellerin, who started ahead of Cedric at 5 million as well. And you got the slightly more expensive Kieran Tierney at 5.5, but he played as a centre-back last night.
Yeah. So, like you said, Arteta has worked his magic into the Arsenal defense. They are very well organized and very well drilled against the reigning Premier League champions, and they put on a solid defensive performance, as you said. And this is with the fact that Saliba didn't start, and there is still Gabriel is waiting to join. So they might not be. They didn't even start out their frontline defense, to be precise. And Tierney at 5.5 was under my eye test as well yesterday. He did solid in terms of defensive efforts, but there wasn't much of an attacking output from Tierney yesterday. So that's one reason that he started centre back. That might be a reason for that. And that's one thing said, but I'm keeping a firm eye on Saliba because at 4.5, and once I guess he'll be starting starting from game week 1, and he's going to be a great pick at 4.5. There's great value under him. And if you take Cedric or Bellerin, there is chances of rotation between them, and you might not know who Arteta would prefer. And he's a Pep's prodigy, so rotation will be rife. And I'm not willing to risk with Hector Bellerin or Cedric. So for me, Saliba is the one I'm looking at from Arsenal defense, even though he didn't start yesterday. But as you said, Tierney was excellent yesterday from a defensive perspective, and attacking output should automatically be increasing when he's put back into his natural position.
Yeah, you mentioned there was no Saliba yesterday. There was also no Trent Alexander Arnold, sorry. And was that a bit of a surprise, because there were rumors that he wouldn't be involved as much, but to not be involved at all, and Neco Williams starting in his place. Neco Williams at 4 million, by the way. I do think that Trent will start ahead of him, but is that something to be worried about going into that first game against Leeds? No Trent.
I think I saw a tweet saying that Trent will be back soon. So I would see,
I guess
that's what I would see him starting at game week 1, because they really missed him yesterday.
Exactly.
Especially on the right side, it was practically non-existent, and then Williams had issues trying to deal with Aubameyang, and Salah didn't get the service that he needs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashley Maitland-Niles as well, man of the match performance, but he's linked with a move away to Wolves, especially with Matt Doherty confirming his move to Spurs today. How do you see that? I mean, I thought he looked really good yesterday, whether it was going forward, whether it was defensively. It's not the first time he's impressed us. Is this something that we have to keep an eye on as well? Because ultimately, if he plays as well as that, it takes Tierney's attacking option away, because he'll be deployed as centre back. How much does this impact, Arsenal defensively?
So he was very, very impressive for me yesterday. He was like all over the place. He was he was closing out players, and he was pushing forward rampantly, and very solid performance. And he's very versatile as well. He could play midfield, he could play defense, he could play fullback. So there's a lot of options with him, and it is again a wait and watch situation here, because we don't know he's staying at Arsenal or he's going back to Wolves, whether he'll be playing defense or he'll be playing midfield. So lots of ifs or that. But then if Wolves do land him, he's a solid fullback option that I would be straightly putting him into, because taking into consideration the Boli is priced at 5.5, Vinagre is priced at 5. So I would rather have a Wolves fullback at the same price rather than go for a centre back. So Maitland-Niles, if he does make a move to Wolves, is a very, very great option for us to consider in FPL terms. And regards with if he stays back at Arsenal, it's a wait and watch for me, because we still don't know what position he'll be put into play. If he's playing in midfield, it's again going to reduce his impact in terms of FPL returns, because Saka did put in very solid performance yesterday. So that's something we'll have to talk about. Saka was, in fact, one of the best, if not the second best player after Maitland-Niles yesterday by a far margin.
Yeah, anything to add to that, Joe? 5 million, Maitland-Niles, attractive enough for you to get into that first game week?
I have to agree with Sir, because Maitland-Niles at 5 million, yes, it's a good price, and yes, he played well, and yes, he is good in attacking, but the problem is he, in terms of FPL, is still a big uncertainty. Firstly, whether he plays. Secondly, where he plays. And thirdly, how many minutes is he going to be involved in? Like he might even be sub out like maybe like the 59th minute. But
Well, there is good depth in both fullback positions, the left and the right. I mean, you look at the right, we just mentioned, Bellerin and Cedric. You look at the left, you got Tierney, you got Kolasinac.
you got
Let's not forget,
Kolasinac.
Kolasinac is still
He came in
there.
yesterday,
Yeah, and Maitland-Niles. So it's it's really where does he fit in, or does he fit in at Arsenal at all? At 5 million, is he worth the risk as well? Fantastic player, as we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
But it really depends, because if he goes to Wolves, there's a higher chance of him starting now at that right fullback position with Doherty gone.
Yep, for sure. So like what Soya said, if he goes to Wolves to fill in the hole that Doherty left, then at 5 million, it'll be a great option.
Okay, and a few surprises in the lineups and the squads. We spoke about Naby Keita in yesterday's show at 5.5. Through all the drafts that you see, he's one that's featured. I spoke to a few FPL players as well on Twitter, and they were the fact that at 5.5, Keita goes straight into their team despite him being a rotation risk. Were any of you surprised that he didn't make the first 11, considering his performances in preseason?
For me, to be honest, I wasn't surprised.
You weren't surprised James Milner started ahead of him?
I mean, James Milner is still a captain figure, and then probably the Community Shield is sort of like a summary of the achievement that they achieved last season. So probably players which were more involved throughout the last season, they are given the priority to play. Maybe I'm just guessing, but credit to Keita. When he came in, he was really, he bossed the midfield. He
looked busy, didn't he?
Yeah, and I remember the probably the first few touches he did was a long shot, but way off target. But still, you can see
the intent.
Yeah, but you can see the hunger in him, and he wanted to make an impact, and he wanted to make a difference when they were like a goal down. So yeah, I mean, but for me, whether is he in my squad,
yeah,
he is a precious Liverpool slot, like if they get going, you would want all three of them playing in and out. And if Keita is there, you would probably, and the problem is his price, at 5.5 million, you can't possibly change to another Liverpool player with just one free transfer.
Change. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're practically stuck with him if you wanted to have, I mean, if he's a rotational risk and you want to have three Liverpool players in your team.
Yeah, and surprises throughout. El Neni getting a start for Arteta. Most of us thought, along with Maitland-Niles, that his days at Arsenal were numbered. From an FPL perspective, I don't want to talk about him too much because I don't think a lot of us will be having him in our teams. But does that take up a creative slot? I mean, we saw Saka towards the end of last season. He played there in that central role as well. And then you got your players like Willock and everyone. We're going to come on to it a little bit, later on. But, when Pepe's fit, when Willian's there, Oba's there, where does Saka fit in? Because he played really well yesterday, like Surya said, he played really well. And he's really at an attractive price.
Exactly. So one more crucial thing that I think you guys would have noticed, there wasn't 77 in his back. There was just 7 yesterday. So he's very important. Looking at the squad, looking at the jersey number that he's got into, and he's certainly not going back to that left wing back position that Arteta put him quite a lot of times last season. He's gonna start at attack, or he's gonna come in. He's gonna come in and play an attacking role, and he was very essential yesterday. That the ball to Aubameyang was again very brilliant. He saw Nico Williams out of position, and he just delightful pass, and he set up NKT asked for a couple of chances that could have been converted. So he was very good. Yeah. And but the thing is that, like rightly you said, that Pepe and Willian are there to compete for the right wing spot. So we still don't know where he'll start, whether it be left or right or centrally. So there's a lot of things going on, but he does surely make a very good 5.5 midfielder option, because we are looking at Armstrong and ASM, Soucek at 5. But when you put in this guy at 5.5, it changes the complete dynamics, because he's essentially playing as a winger at 5.5. It's very worthy enough to note. And I believe he'll be starting over Pepe or Willian, because I heard Willian has missed out because of lack of match fitness, and Pepe is still in quarantine, as with Lacazette. So if you're essentially looking at an early wild card and you wanted to gamble with the 5.5 midfielder slot, I think Saka could be an option worth considering. But again, as I keep saying with Arsenal, except for Aubameyang and Saliba, every other player is wait and watch for me. So Auba is pretty much locked in my team after what he did yesterday. So
yeah, I mean, let's go straight onto that. Let's go straight onto Auba. Sure. I mean, a goal from that left wing position. I mean, he's just looking tasty, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like stats people would probably say, wow, he's overperforming his XG, but you know how good is he? His shots, he makes them count. So like yesterday, he just cut in and he just know where he wants the ball.
It's a typical Auba goal, wasn't it? Typical Auba. We see him do that, plenty of times.
Yeah, it's so he's I mean, like prior to that, he was like quiet. He was helping with the defense. He was picking balls up from midfield, but suddenly just boom, just one shot.
But does that play a factor there? I mean, the fact that he has to do that defensive side to him as well. Does that take a little bit of the appeal off of him, or he's definitely set? He's captain material going into the first game of the season, and he can just do no wrong for the rest of the season, barring injury, obviously.
I would say he had to do some defense, is because that's how Arteta's molding Arsenal to be, similar to what City does. They're working as a unit. So as you can see yesterday, when they were off possession, they were so tight in defense, and then when they get the ball, even at a goal kick, they play from the back. So it's very similar to what Pep is doing to City, but I just digress a bit in terms of the defense. Yes, they're playing really good football and they're playing from the back, but yesterday David Luiz lost quite a few number of balls trying to do that. So I mean, probably they need more practice, but yeah, it looks good. So probably that's what Aubameyang did, because he's pulling his weight as a team player, but
in terms of shots, though, Zhao, when I ask you, in terms of returns, he's a heavy investment in that midfield slot.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of shots on target, creating chances, did he do enough to justify that price tag?
For me, not every week. It personally, I don't view Aubameyang as a set and forget. For me, he's more of a fixture kind of guy, and he loves playing at home, especially. So yes, certain fixtures, 12 million is worth it, but for me, I probably wouldn't keep him for the whole season or much of the season. It's really based on the fixtures, in my opinion.
Yeah, while we're talking about premium options, and it's hard to not talk about Salah and Mane despite their almost non-existence yesterday during the match. I mean, where were these two superstars that we saw last season? It seemed a bit quiet last night, and 12 million, going to that first game week against Leeds, it's quite an investment.
Yeah, but see, 12 million is quite a huge number, as Zeus said, for Aubameyang as well. But one thing that has played to our advantage is that Auba could be used as a placeholder to bring in KDB or Sterling in game week 3. So that's there. And Salah's lack of performance yesterday is directly credited to the absence of Trent Alexander-Arnold. So Trent wasn't there, and the right side wasn't there at all, totally. And in fair terms, he would have got a fantasy assist for what he did with the Minamino's goal. So okay, so other than that, Salah was completely non-existent. But I wouldn't read too much into yesterday's game in terms of Salah or Mane, because Mane was quite active yesterday. He was taking a few shots, and that's because Robertson was rampant yesterday. He had close to double-digit crosses, and he was pretty. For me, Robertson was the man of the match from Liverpool's perspective. So he was Liverpool's star player yesterday, and obviously Salah's number and Salah's attacking output would increase the moment Trent is back. And we've seen tweets today that Trent is back in training as of today. So I see him start game week 1, and if Trent is back, I don't see Salah's lack of form going back, and we all know what kind of player Salah and Mane are. So I'm not taking the risk of going without one of them, and they are defending champions, so you have to put some respect out of their names as well. So I wouldn't read too much about yesterday's performance. That's the gap between Neco Williams and Trent was very alarming. That was quite evident, and that in fact guarantees Trent's minute now. Even though Klopp said that there would be rotations during the season, but the performance of Neco Williams yesterday pretty much guarantees Trent's time in the pitch, at least for the first 10 game weeks. So I wouldn't read too much into Salah's lack of attacking output yesterday, because the moment Trent is back, he's a different kind of player. So they both complement each other in a lot of ways. And Mane was kind of unlucky not to get his scoring boot on. He had a few chances going on, but he couldn't convert. So one of Salah or Mane is still firmly in my plans, and I think Zul also will agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Tactically, I mean, it kind of changed for Liverpool as well once those, substitutions and formation, not so much formation, but those tactical changes were made, with, like you mentioned, Neco Williams, Gomez going to the right, Fabinho dropping in, bringing people like Keita into the game to add a bit more energy to it. But, we know what Salah and Mane can do, but at 12 million, I mean, I'm going back, Aubameyang's in the same bracket, and, Joe, said he's not a set and forget. He's not going to be a set and forget. Are Salah and Mane set and forgets? Joe, I'm coming to you on that. Because you've already told me Omar's not a set and forget for you.
For me, maybe I'm biased, but for me, Salah is close to what I would call a set and forget. And then, I mean, if we look specifically on game week 1, it will be a home game against a promoted team. So usually Salah loves home games, and even though you don't have any spectators, but I'm pretty sure he will get his boots back on that game.
Yeah. So basically, again, a start like last season. Not promoted team, home game for Liverpool. Yeah. Last season was Norwich. This season it's Leeds, and
it was 4-0 against Norwich, wasn't it? 4-0.
4-1.
4-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we all know Biesla's attacking guy. He would set his team to attack, and if that happens, the defense might open up, and I'm not taking a chance without going Salah. So I'm a bit biased over here with like Zoo, because both of us are good Salah fans, and for me, Salah's close to being a set and forget, because last season his numbers was pretty weak compared to Salah's terms, because he didn't cross 250 points. So I think he'll be raring to go and say correct that this season. So Salah for me is set and forget, and Aubameyang is gonna be a placeholder for me. At least that's the thought process for me as of now. So I wouldn't read too much into what happened yesterday, but so Salah is close to set and forget for me as well.
Okay, and up front as well, no Lacazette for Mikel Arteta. I think for most of it was a surprise. He didn't even make the bench. Now, whether that's going to fuel rumours that he's on his way out of the club. Eddie Nketiah at 6 million got a start. How did you think his performance went, Joe? Joe, no? Can you hear us?
Oh, sorry. It's lagging out. Can you just repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of us were shocked to see no Alexander Lacazette in the Arsenal squad. Didn't even make the bench. It could potentially fuel rumours that he's on his way out of the club. Does this mean there's a cheap way into that Arsenal attack as well at 6 million with Eddie Nketiah?
But I heard he's actually undergoing quarantine, but that might just be a rumor. But Eddie probably at 6 million, if I'm not mistaken. If he starts regularly, yes, he's worth a punt. But based on what I see yesterday, probably not so. He was quite quiet yesterday.
He had a great chance.
Yes.
Quite wasteful. Quite wasteful.
Yep. He actually took it quite well, but I probably think it wasn't powerful enough, and Alisson got there first.
Yeah.
But other than that, I barely even noticed him.
And the sub for Liverpool, who ended up missing the crucial penalty in the shootout, Ryan Brewster. At 4.5, there is a lot of talk about him, whether he's going to be that forward bench fodder. The baby Wells yesterday on the show said he's a no-go. He's not touching him with a barge pole. What about you, Sirius? Is he someone that you can maybe take a gamble on just to maybe be a bench fodder, or are you looking to get a third top-heavy striker in there to boost your attack?
So for me, currently it's a 6 million forward. I have Mitrovic in my side for now. So I haven't tinkered in 3-4 days. I got fed up, so I just laid low for a couple of days. It's so much transfer rumor happening. It's like, oh man, I just take some time off and then come back and see what happens. So for now, it's Mitrovic at 6. But then if I want funds, and if as Klopp said, they might look back at the situation with Rehan once the Shield game is over, about him moving out on loan, and Sheffield are in fact willing to take him on a permanent deal as well. So who knows if Sheffield can take him? I think his prospects go back. So not taking into consideration he missed the penalty yesterday. He was very sharp. Finishing chances in the preseason friendly, and if he lands himself another Premier League club, and I think he'll start a few, he'll get benched a few, and then in the second half he could actually could have a kind of season of what Greenwood had last season at the same price point, 4.5. So I would consider him if he moves to another club. But if it's again at Liverpool, it's again a Liverpool slot based. So I wouldn't consider him if he's staying at Liverpool. And I wouldn't read too much into the missed penalty yesterday. He's still a very fairly young kid, and the pressure got to him. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But if he makes a move to another Premier League club, and even if it's some other club than Sheffield, because Sheffield do have a lot of attacking options. So their strikers got rotated a lot last time. There's McBurney, Sharp, so many options. Mouser to there, and a lot of options. Say he ends up in a club like Newcastle or anywhere else that desperately need a striker. Say Aston Villa too. Aston Villa struggled they were without a striker for long, and then they got in Samata. So if he makes a move, then he's a very good option to consider. 4.5, and a lot of if he starts or he comes in, he's kind of kid who can score. He's very confident. So, but then again, if he stays in Liverpool, it's another Liverpool slot gone to the mud. And if they're back performing as they did like last season, and then it's not a straight swap. 4.5, you have to swap forward and then try bring in Salah or Mane. So it's going to take you 2-3 transfers, and I don't see that being worthy enough. So, but then if he makes a move, I'm gonna be all over him definitely. Yeah, that's my
Joe, anything to add to that to just cap off the episode?
I agree with what Surya said. Currently, I have him on my draft, but yes, he's a valuable Liverpool slot. But I think I heard him mentioning that he wants to stay in Liverpool to fight for his place. But to be honest, I can't see him featuring much. Because he has Origi to even share the minutes with, and we know how much Liverpool, Firmino fits in Liverpool in that system. So Firmino practically featured in every game. So if he stays in Liverpool, most probably a no from me as well.
Okay, great. Boys, it's great having you on the show, dissecting that Community Shield last night. I hope everyone there at home enjoyed watching it. You got your tips from the boys. This is us signing out. We will be back next week to give you more advice, more tips, more information on the preseason friendlies that have been happening over the past week, which players to look out for, who are your informed players going to game week 1 of the new season. Till then, guys, take it easy.